My name is Sophia Loza, and my icon is Antoine de Paris, or the inventor of the bob. Antoine was born in 1884 in Poland, but he was born Antoni Cierplikowski. He looked like a typical Polish boy born in a small town. He enjoyed chasing hens and playing with friends. Antoine was an artist. He created floral patterns from scraps of materials, and he had imagination. He saw beauty and knew how to extract it, so they said. He had many talents, and he loved to style hair. As he was growing up, he moved to Lodz, where he learned hairdressing from his uncle and gained recognition as a brilliant and talented visionary hairstylist. Though when he turned 17, he could be drafted. Because of this, his parents sent him to France, and from France, he went to Paris to pursue his career as a hairstylist. Antoine de Paris never had any professional form of education. As I said previously, he learned to cut hair from his uncle and went on from there. He had this natural talent and was very gifted at what he did and became the first modern celebrity hairdresser of his time.
When is a permanent wave permanent? When it's a wig. Monsieur Antoine is a famous designer of lacquered wigs, which he creates and fashions to suit milady's requirements, and there's certainly no lack of ideas with his lacquer. Antoine is full of ideas. Notice the ring and the heel of his shoe. Looking through this mirror would be quite a feat, though. Returning to wigs, they're very useful to blend with the colour of your dress, or conversely, you can always buy a dress to blend with the wig. Whichever way you look at it, it's a splendid idea. Wigs are also made to suit the face. After all, there are faces and faces. Whilst a wig will suit one face, it won't suit another. Wicked, isn't it? Joking aside, though, they're very attractive, the wigs and the faces.
Some of Antoine's editorial work include The Birth of the Bob in 1911. One Sunday in 1911, Antoine was requested by an actress and loyal customer, Eve Lavier, to come for a styling. The nearly 40-year-old woman was to play the role of an 18-year-old girl. The director of the play would not listen to reason and stubbornly demanded that she was to play that part. Worried she would become the laughingstock of Paris, she turned to Antoine for help. He studied her face and pondered what could be done. Then suddenly, inspired by the landlady's 14-year-old daughter, he took the scissors and delivered the cut. It was said to be inspired by Joan of Arc's closely cropped hair. The bob was considered extremely controversial in an era when long hair was regarded as the ultimate in femininity. The controversial style gained popularity among the young and daring and was soon picked up by the new generation of flappers.
Speaking of blondes and brunettes, Antoine of Paris came up with instant hairdos, all this long before instant coffee and the like. The headdresses are made of human hair that is lacquered but it's shaped, and all milady had to do was pop it on and was ready to take off for the opera. Researchers never did find out what would happen in a heavy rain.
In the early years of Antoine's profession, a duchess named Duchess de Lafarge came into the parlor in person and demanded her hair to be styled. Antoine approached the duchess and was completely taken aback by her dirty, greasy hair. He offered her a complimentary hair wash. She was demoralized. "Scandal," she shouted. But Antoine was not afraid of her. When all attempts to reason with the greasy-haired duchess failed, he refused to style her hair unless she agreed to let him wash it. She left in a huff and a puff, only to return a few days later. She had the complimentary wash and became a loyal customer of Antoine's. It was the Polish Antoine de Paris who introduced the ritual to hair salons. In the early years of his life and his profession, he was offered a job at Maison Caillou, a hairdressing establishment that operated in Paris, and he took the job. It was there that he met Berthe Astier, who was employed there as a manicurist. He followed her to London, and when Berthe got pregnant, he married her in 1909. Unfortunately, the child died and the couple decided to return to Paris, where they rented a flat at 25 Rue Rodier, Montemar, and installed a phone so that Antoine could take bookings for work. 2 years later, they opened the salon at 5 Rue Cambon. Despite his overt homosexuality, Antoine and Berthe remained married, with Berthe managing Antoine's growing business empire. Berthe would continue to manage all of his enterprises and do so successfully. Antoine acknowledged many times that I don't think I would ever have reached any safe place in my career without her French common sense and her gift of saving pennies at the right moment. She had been and is the brilliant business manager of all my enterprises. Antoine is also credited with a number of hairdressing innovations: the shingle cut, open plan salons, heated hair dryers, hair lacquers, and the blue rinse. He opened the salon at 5 Rue Cambon. The 1930s were Antoine's years of expansion. 236 Dover Street in London, 5 Rue Cambon in Paris, and Saks Fifth Avenue in New York. The list would grow into the hundreds during the 1930s and spread around the world as far as Australia. Though Antoine's first overseas affiliation was in Britain, he soon continued on to the United States and brought the expansion to New York in Saks Fifth Avenue. In 1925, Horace Saks died from septicemia, and his assistant Adam Gimbel became the store's new president. After taking over, Gimbel redecorated Saks in the new Art Deco style, added new specialty shops within the store, and invited Antoine to visit. Antoine did not just stop at hairstyling and hair products. He also made cosmetics. It seems likely that commercial products started in France in 1925 or 1926. The symbol of a woman's head used on a number of early Antoine cosmetics was trademarked in 1926, with Antoine adding a stylist version of a woman in a gymnastic pose in 1932. The École Professionnelle Antoine was opened at 4 Rue Saint-Didier to train beauticians to use and sell the cosmetics. Antoine was a smart, modern entrepreneur, and he marketed his own products and cosmetics and trained young hairdressers in his methods and employed them in his salons.